Hello everybody, here we are today talking about the Seattle Kraken, the fact that they look like they'll probably miss the playoffs despite having a busy offseason. So before we get started with it, please make sure to subscribe if you're new to me or hockey, whatever the case may be. That being said, let's get on into it. So Seattle is somehow already in its fourth year as an organization as time flies, and this is a club that's only made the playoffs once, and this time they made it in year two, and then they followed it up with kind of a disappointing year three that did see some major changes for the organization as they saw the success from that second year, said we want to get back to that. So they ended up firing Dave Hextall, their head coach, and spend some serious money in the offseason to try to go out there and improve. And from a kind of wide view, you might look at this and say things look okay. They are 3 points back of the final wildcard spot out west in nearly 25 games. They're still in the thick of it. Things are good. But I think when you look at some things a little bit deeper here, there are reasons to be worried about this team and say they probably won't make it. For one, the teams that are above them that had more points, I believe have games in hand. Well, on top of that too, seeing Seattle have a pair of really bad losses, a 5-2 loss to Anaheim and then an 8-5 loss to San Jose, which was last night, being kind of the cherry on top of what's been a little bit of a bad run. They just lost to two teams that are below them in the division, and now we have to ask ourselves what exactly is going wrong in the Pacific Northwest. Well, I think the first thing we can talk about is the fact this is not a top-tier team offensively. We probably didn't expect them to be super dominant, but they rank 19th in the league for goals for per 60, and this is something that is kind of padded. This will be a stat that I imagine drops for them by the end of the year, where they're a bottom third team or even lower, primarily because they started off the season with a lot of big game wins where they had a lot of goals in those, and that is good. Problem is, though, they have been dealing with injuries and probably will look set to do with that more, as Jordan Eberle is already out with an injury and probably will miss reportedly about 3 months. So for a forward group that is already not, getting the best of what they can get, that's not ideal. Vince Dunn is one of their top tier defensemen. He's been out with an injury. He looks set to return here soon, but they're still struggling. And on top of that, in general, they're not getting a lot of high quality chances. This is a team that just has not looked great over the past 8 games either. They've scored 20 goals in that time. That's 2.5 goals per game. They've not scored more than 3 goals since November 12th. That was a 5-2 win against Columbus. Since then, they have been 3 goals or less. That is not something that is great for a side that is trying to get back to the playoffs. You need to score goals, but I don't think they can. Defensively, things look pretty suspect here, and while they may not have the worst PK percentage in the league, they are probably one of the worst teams when it comes to the penalty kill, and I'd imagine their PK percentage will drop as the season goes along. They've got the unholy trinity going against them at the moment when it comes to shots, chances, and high-quality chances against, and I think really one thing we can talk about here right now is the fact that their goalies are actually saving them in this regard, and they are helping this side out for now. But I think the biggest problem is, while this team doesn't spend a lot of time on the PK, they just can't expect their goalies to bail them out every time as the season goes along, and this is a bigger problem that we see for a team that is not scoring a lot of goals, dealing with injuries, and is not in a safe position for playoff positioning right now. The PK has got to get better. Is it all on them for the entirety of the season, just defensively? I wouldn't say that it is, but this is still a side that has got to help the guys that are behind them in net. Although I will say somebody that does have to step up going forward is Philip Grubauer. Grubauer, for his contract and the length of the deal and whatnot, was not expected to be a backup. But what is he right now? He is a guy that is a backup goalie that is struggling big time. He has 1 win in 8 games for the season, and it has really been a situation that is not great for the team, where they thought they might have a good 1-2 punch at net, where instead you're seeing Grubauer have a terrible year. So offensively, things aren't looking great. Defensively, especially on the PK, things are looking great. Philip Grubauer, a guy that you expected to be possibly your starter a couple of years ago, is a bad backup. What exactly can we look at here? Can we talk about the guys that they ended up going out and signing on these deals? We can, as Brandon Montour is a player that actually looks like he's having a good season. He is set to probably have another 50-point year, and the chances are in Seattle's favor at full strength when he's out there on the ice. This is a player, too, that could set a career high for goals this season. So in terms of having Montour, this is probably big, especially with the Dunn injury. This is a side that probably could be ecstatic, saying that if he can continue to kind of get in a rhythm with this side and maybe build off this going into next season, that's good. Now we have to talk about Chandler Stevenson, who's kind of been a mixed bag here. He has got 16 points in 24 games and has been contributing to the team offensively, yes, but has also really struggled when it comes to goals, as he's got 2 goals in this span, and has been a guy that's been kind of suspect defensively for them. So they're really going to be asking for more from him to help out for this forward group, again, as they're trying to find more goals. If he could break out of the funk a little bit and get to being a 15 to 20 goal scorer, at least at that pace, it really would be ideal for this side, as at the moment it's kind of all hands on deck as they try to get this season back in check. So while it all hasn't been bad for Seattle, clearly things have been going against them right now. Is their season salvageable? I would say yes, but they are in a spot where they have to kind of get going. There are teams like Colorado that are getting healthier, that are probably going to get better. There are teams like Vancouver that might be getting a little bit healthier. I know that they probably aren't thinking about top 3 in the division right now. They might be thinking about a wild card spot. But I think for this side, it would kind of be disappointing if they weren't able to at least say that they improved in the year. And that's kind of where I'm worried about for this team. Whereas if they have a worse year, people would really be frustrated saying we spent this money and we still weren't able to get a W. At the end of all this, I would say that I'm kind of worried in a little bit of a sense for Seattle in the future. They've got a couple of really good deals on the books that will eventually end up becoming deals that maybe aren't as favorable, as those players deserve more money and will get more money. And they've got a couple of contracts, especially like Grubauer's, that you might want to move on from that could hinder the team going forward. That's the case with every team but for a side that is not really being able to go out there and be a regular playoff side, or at least look like it. This is kind of an issue they might need to address. As for how things will finish out this year, I don't know, but I think it could be more bad than good. So anyway, what are your thoughts on the Seattle Kraken for this season? Do you think they'll make the playoffs? Do you think they'll miss the playoffs? Let me know down below in the comments. Also, please make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're new. Everybody stay safe. Have a great night. And Eagle of Hockey, alright. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. This is your captain signing off. Have a great night.